I've debated posting this for a while now, but I can't shake the feeling that maybe someone out there can explain what happened. Here goes. Last summer, my friends and I decided to take a road trip across the country. We'd planned everything meticulously, mapping out our route to ensure we'd hit all the major landmarks. But, like all plans, things went awry. One of our tires blew out on a desolate road in the middle of nowhere. Our phones had no signal, and the nearest town was miles away. We were stranded. As night began to fall, we decided to walk to the town we'd seen on our map. It was called Harrow's End. It wasn't too far, and we figured we could find help there. By the time we arrived, it was well past midnight, and the town was eerily silent. The first thing we noticed was how old everything looked. The buildings, the cars, even the streetlights seemed to belong to another era. There were no lights on in any of the houses, and the only sound was the distant hum of the wind. It was as if the town had been abandoned, yet there was an unsettling feeling that we were being watched. We found a small inn near the center of town and knocked on the door. To our surprise, it creaked open on its own. We called out, but no one answered. The interior was covered in dust, and cobwebs hung from the ceiling. It was clear no one had been here in a long time. We decided to stay there for the night, hoping we could find someone in the morning. As we settled in, strange things started happening. We heard footsteps above us, but when we checked, no one was there. Doors creaked open and shut on their own, and a cold draft seemed to follow us wherever we went. Around 3 a.m., we heard a faint whispering. It was so quiet we could barely make out the words, but it sounded like multiple voices murmuring at once. We huddled together, too scared to move. The whispers grew louder, filling the room with an unintelligible chant. Suddenly, the room went ice cold, and we saw our breaths fog up in front of us. One of my friends, Jake, tried to leave the room, but the door wouldn't budge. It was as if something was holding it shut. We pounded on it, screamed for help, but no one came. The whispers turned into growls, and we could feel a presence closing in on us. Then, the door flew open, and standing there was a figure cloaked in darkness. Its eyes glowed a sickly yellow, and it had an unnatural, twisted grin. It didn't speak, but we could hear its voice in our heads, whispering unspeakable horrors. We ran past it, down the stairs, and out into the street, not daring to look back. We didn't stop running until we were out of the town. We flagged down a passing car and begged the driver to take us to the nearest city. When we told him what had happened, he went pale. He said Harrow's End had been abandoned for decades after a series of brutal murders. The townsfolk had reportedly dabbled in dark rituals, trying to summon something from beyond. The town was cursed, and anyone who stayed there too long would disappear without a trace. We never spoke about it again. But sometimes, late at night, I can still hear the whispers. I fear that whatever was in Harrow's End followed us, and it's only a matter of time before it comes to claim us too. If you ever find yourself stranded on an empty road with no signal, don't go looking for help in Harrow's End. You might not make it out.